All right, welcome to part 2 of the end of my career as I rant about my right-wing political values. Brought the popcorn. Did you bring your popcorn? It'll be fun to watch. Um, but this is part 2 of how to vote, which is basically me doing my last-minute half-assed research on the candidates that I'm going to vote for tomorrow and figuring out who I should vote for. Um, if you haven't watched part 1, go do it now, because I'm not going to repeat all the stuff that I said in part 1. I already said it. I just had to take a break because it was a really long video, and we're going to finish up the ballot. It's a big ballot for tomorrow's election. Lots of races. And I was looking at circuit court race. And there's a supposedly conservative dude and liberal lady, although it's not really clear what exactly they believe. And I gotta say, the lady is doing a pretty darn good job of campaigning. The dude had a thing at the bottom of his website that kind of bugged me a little bit. And the lady has kind of given me a reason to think, like, might be the way to go, honestly. Okay, let's see. Some kind of horrible ad. Da 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 da. Background information. Hmm. Especially drawn to action that addresses the needs of children and families. A personal goal is to protect the most vulnerable. Hmm. But the dude. Let's see. It's all just background information. The dude is a prosecutor. That makes him that makes me like him a little bit less, honestly. His whole job for a long time was just trying to get people convicted of crimes. I don't know that you can do that for like 35 years and it doesn't affect you. And he hasn't actually been a judge before. I don't know, man. There's not a lot to go on in this race. All things considered, I think I might go for the lady. And the reason is because she wasn't a prosecutor for 35 years. But seriously, it seems like she has a wider breadth of experience. She actually has been a judge. She has experience being a judge. The dude does not. She said that she works very hard to not be perceived as very partisan, and she thinks this is a very nonpartisan office, which I tend to agree with. Boy, and as a circuit court judge, I mean, yeah, sure. I think I'm going to vote for the lady. I like what she has to say. I didn't find anything that stuck out to me as like, oh no, red flag. She seems to have better experience. She didn't drop out of the race for 2 months. So, yep, that's where I landed on that. And you see, even just a little bit of last-minute, half-assed research, you might find it's not who you expect. The person that you think you should vote for is not necessarily just going to fall into your tribal lane. You have to actually think about these things. Okay. Because I'm doing half-assed research, here's an interesting thing this next race. Another circuit court judge. But this is a different branch. And they're running unopposed. So the only way that they would lose and that I would get the candidate I actually want in is if there actually was a candidate I wanted instead, and they were running like a well-known write-in campaign of some kind. So I'm just not going to vote in that one. I don't think that she will miss my vote that much since she's unopposed. If she's somebody who's good for the position, so I'm not worried about that. And if she's not good for the position, well, then I didn't vote for her. You see, sometimes if you're not informed, don't vote. It's pretty simple logic, really. Next race is circuit court judge again. Different branch. There's 3 circuit court races here. Okay. So I gotta look up both the candidates. Just type their names into Google. It's good enough. And then go to their website if they have one. So there's a dude. There's a dude and a lady again. But the dude does not have a website. He's on the GOP website, so I'll just look at that. The lady does have a website. All right. Excuse me. So the dude. 36 years. Serving citizens as a criminal defense attorney. Volunteer, blah, blah, blah. Coaching, whatever. Do-gooders clubs. Becoming a circuit court judge would be the culmination of my dedication to serving the citizens. Okay. I mean, that's not a lot to go on. They just had a little biography blurb for him. Okay, here's an interview. Okay. He had a private law practice. Cites experience in the fields of family law, guardianship, civil litigation, small claims, criminal defense, trial level through appeals, and up to winning a case before the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Noted firstly the length of his career, then the variety of law in which he has practiced. Long-time residency gives him a good feel for the people. Yada, yada, yada. Volunteering is a big value. Volunteered a lot. Said he spent a long time had a lot of experiences. He was given a public reprimand in 2007 by the Office of Lawyer Regulation, an agency of the Supreme Court, for having erroneously advised a client of his sentencing based upon potential conviction in 2 counties and of failing to adequately prepare for the client's sentencing hearing. It says he also had previously been privately reprimanded in connection with another criminal defense matter. Everyone faces adversity in their life, and it's from adversity more than success that we really learn who we are and learn to improve ourselves and become better people, better attorneys. So yes, I had adversity. I've learned from it. I became a better judge, a better attorney, a better person. It contributes to making me a better judge. Okay, so made mistakes and learned from them. That's how he wants to spin it anyway. Been thinking about running for the last 10 to 15 years. Without hesitation, he says, I am a conservative. He believes that people should be allowed to live their lives with as little government as possible controlling what they can and can't do. The circuit courts were created by the legislature through statute, and it is important to live up to those statutes and follow the law as written without trying to extrapolate the law or impose his beliefs. Emphasize that defendants are to be judged based upon the individual in their case only, and that the nature of the crime, the defendant's rehabilitative needs, and protection of the community are the only 3 factors to be used in sentencing. He was asked whether he thought that the emphasis of sending criminals away by issue-oriented advertising in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race was too much. He said, absolutely, referring especially to using a candidate's background as a criminal defense lawyer against them when they were simply doing their job. Okay. Pay and caseload are two issues that must be addressed. Starting wages are such that instead of getting paid $250 an hour, they're getting paid $70 for a public defender and $100 an hour at the court-appointed rate. As for caseload, he said that it wasn't unusual to learn of someone fresh out of law school to be given 250, 300, or 350 open cases in the DA's office. Addressing these issues, he said, would be a good start to freeing up the system. Favors rehabilitation more than simply punishing. Why should people vote for you? He responded, the length of my experience, the breadth of my experience, legal and personal, having been all over the state. But focusing here, just the increased wisdom or intelligence that comes with age and having gone through some adversity, I think puts me in a really good position to be a very good judge for the people of this community. All right, that's solid stuff there from the dude, the unashamedly conservative dude running for this position as a circuit court judge. Didn't see a lot of red flags. He doesn't have a website. So I continue my frustration with Republicans and conservatives in general. But he's on the campaign trail at least. Okay, here's his opponent, who I will refer to as the lady. It's interesting, so many of these races, it's the dude or the lady. And they are the conservative and the liberal. Every time. Just interesting is all. Okay, went to school. Did some stuff. Not the most photogenic person in the world. That's okay. Volunteering. Oh my gosh. My cats are being crazy. Ba. Volunteering. Man, this is a good website. Why attorney lady for judge? So she hasn't actually been a judge. I don't know if the dude had been a judge though. He has 36 years of experience practicing law. Seems like he would be the older and more wiser choice automatically just because this lady is young. And yeah, I'm judging her based on the fact that she's young. But you know what? Like, it's a fact. And I don't have a lot else to go on here. Those cats are going to drive me crazy. Focused on helping those in the community, she has volunteered at events to benefit families in need. Referred from Health and Human Services, Mental Health America, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Rotary Club, etc., etc. Intends to continue her work as she serves as Sheboygan County Circuit Court Judge. Believes that community problems require input from the community to address. Okay. Not really a lot to go on here. Why this person for judge? Learn what makes them. Just takes you lower down. There's a press release. View the press release. This is just a list of stuff that she did. It doesn't. It's kind of funny. It doesn't say when she graduated from from law school. It just says that she did. I think maybe they're trying not to advertise the fact that she's fresh out of law school. If that is indeed the case. Okay. I'm going to need more than just her website because that's just not very helpful. I have no idea who this person is or why I should vote for them. So, good for her for having a website, and shame on her that it doesn't actually help. Feels like a waste of time. All right, this news organization conducted interviews. Ba 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 da ba da. We asked if her experience as a defender detracts from her ability to serve the prosecution's side. She responded, "It most certainly does not." Her internships with the U.S. Attorney's Office and other court offices gave her ample experience, allowing her to understand all sides of the issue. Da 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 da. What sets her apart? I think that my high ethical standards and also my commitment to the law. I have been interested in the law since I was 14. Also, I have no ethical violations. I really do uphold the standard of the law, and I think that's the most important for a judge to be able to do on the bench, because this is a difficult job and you cannot fold under pressure. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that the people that wrote this article are the ones with poor grammar and not her when she was speaking and giving that statement, because I think that's a very real possibility based on some of what I'm reading. When asked if if she considered herself being a liberal or a conservative, she said, "Not in the judicial sense. While everyone has their opinions, when it comes to decisions as a judge, if it's not fair and just for all, then it's fair and just for none." What does fair mean? As I'm reading that statement, I'm thinking it's not the fairness system, it's the justice system, right? What does fair mean to you exactly? If she were sitting across the table from me, I would love to ask her that question. Unfortunately, I can't. I really don't know what she means. And of course, okay, yeah, we strive to make things fair in life. The point of the justice system, I guess, maybe at least in civil proceedings, is primarily to achieve a sense that things are fair. You have a right to a fair trial, to be judged impartially, or as impartial as human beings possibly can be. Access to attorneys is the main issue that weighs most heavily on the circuit court system. An attorney can address many issues that come before the court and help resolve issues before courts intervene. Said that she's focused on bringing more attorneys to the area, has supervised interns, and would like to continue that role as a judge. It's not easy to attract, in her experience, it's not easy to attract legal practitioners to this area, which doesn't hold the prestige status other locations do when compared to major college environments. Personally, she loves it here, and the people who are interested in improving their communities she believes there are ways to increase efficiency in the court system that can relieve pressure on the DA's office. Noting how another county is doing it, considering whether it's important that cases avoid a possible appeal. She agreed that it is, mainly because if it doesn't go to appeal, it means that the judge followed the law, but most importantly, it's not whether a case goes to appeal, but rather that it's not won upon appeal. Huh. When asked why she deserves the vote, she replied that I'm the best candidate for this position because I care about the law in this community. I've dedicated my life to helping people in this community and also to volunteering. I think that as a judge, I will make sure that everyone is treated fairly and listened to, and I will do my best to uphold the law. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure she's a nice lady. I'm sure that she would be a pretty good judge. I kind of like the other guy because he said he's a conservative and he's been doing it longer. Sorry, maybe that's kind of a shallow reasoning, but that's what I got, at least for this race. It's basically all I have to go on here. So I think in that case, I'm going to vote for the dude. Okay, that's confusing. Because one of the circuit court judge candidates is also running to be a municipal judge? Huh. Thankfully, I think I decided I was going to vote for her for the other position, so I think I'm going to plan on just leaving that one blank because she's unopposed anyway. That could be a quirk of this website, though, because it does say it's just a sample ballot. It may not be exactly what is on your actual ballot when you go and vote. Okay. City clerk. Running unopposed. I'm going to leave it blank. I'm tired. I put this off to the last minute because I'm bad and horrible or something. And they're running unopposed. They don't really need my vote if they're a good person. If they're not good for it, I didn't help them get elected. I'm not informed. I'm not going to vote. And by the way, if everybody did that, if everybody who got a ballot and saw a person running unopposed and said, I'm just not going to vote in that election, if everybody just left it blank, the people who actually did know something about the election, who actually do really care or have a strong opinion, that might know of a write-in candidate, actually have a better shot of getting them elected through a write-in. Because there won't be as many votes for them to contend with. And I don't know whether you're on my tribal political team or not. I really respect, just like, if you're that motivated that you're going to get a grassroots campaign to get a write-in candidate elected. I just kind of respect that in a weird way, that I feel like it's probably a good thing, because that's really hard to do. You have to care a lot. How very democratic of me. Very disappointing. I'm not being a very good right-winger. there's another race running unopposed. And now we come to an alderperson race. I wonder when they changed it to person instead of man, alderman. That was a thing. Remember that? Remember? Oh, but it could be a woman. Okay, I gotta bring up their information here, 'cause I don't know anything about these people except their names that I have seen all over various yard signs for the last couple months. I did. Oh, no, I got the wrong guy. Boop. Let's make sure I look for the right guy. There he is. Yeah, I was reading this earlier before I started the video. Ah. All right. Here's the article I was reading. Okay. City council seat will be contested. There's a conservative dude and a liberal lady. Shocking. Very different. It's the same as all the other races. The lady is the incumbent in this case, seeking her second term. The dude is looking for his first term. They're given 5 questions about their experience, issues facing the city, the future. Okay. So they're about 30 years apart in age. The dude is older. They've both lived here a long time. Basically their whole lives. The dude says he has no official political experience, but a lifetime of practical experience. The lady says she's the incumbent for this position. Served on the Committee for Public Works and Licensing, Hearing, and Public Safety. Representative for the Library Board of Directors. The dude says, I have spent much time devoted to my family, church, and job. Has grandkids. I have not participated in any local groups. The lady says, past board service for school, private school in town, very well known. A couple other organizations, art stuff. Question 1, why have you decided to run or rerun for a seat? And the conservative dude says, short answer, I was asked by a friend at my church, so I said yes. I think it's in the book of Joshua. It says, my people perish for a lack of vision. Longer answer, dash. I believe that there is a bit of an imbalance of representation on the current Common Council. I would be considered fairly conservative, and that's why I'm using the language of the left, talking about representation. And with my election to the Common Council, it will bring a voice to many voices and viewpoints that may not be fairly represented by the current group. Learn grammar. You don't need political experience to use proper grammar. Do better. The lady says, I am running for re-election. because I feel there is still work to be done that my skills and energy can help move this forward. I am self-aware, open, and a good communicator. I am committed to continue learning and pivot when necessary. Okay, great. This does not help me make up my mind. Question 2. Based on your specific experience, skill set, or point of view, what can you bring to the council for your constituents? The dude says, I've been involved in sales, management, marketing, all of my adult life. So he's probably an extrovert, traveled this great country of ours, and this has given me a broad perspective. In my various career roles, I have built and led sales teams to success, negotiated programs with the largest players in the food service industry. Yada, 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 yada. I serve as an elder at the church that we attend. Also served several terms as the VP of our consistory at the same church. I don't know what a consistory is, but I'm guessing that probably pegs him in some particular denomination that won't be too hard to figure out. All of this makes me well aware of the challenges faced by the political leaders of the community, and my vast career experiences will serve me well as a council member. Okay. So this is a person. Let me stop there and just explain. In Thomas's crazy conservative mind, very entrepreneurial mind, I read this little blurb, his answer to this question, which was, based on your specific experience, skill set, or point of view, what can you bring to the council for your constituents? I read his answer as, I'm a dude with a job. I've had a job for a long time. A very, very important job. VP of Strategic Accounts. Whatever the hell that means. I've been in charge of sales teams. All right. Well, somebody who's worked in sales knows a lot about a lot of things. I'm sure he'll be a very competent person to serve on city council. What? That's not very convincing. Salespeople are generally regarded as like the least trustworthy people, aren't they? All right. The liberal lady says, having grown up in the city, I am invested and committing to making this community an even better place to work, live, and play. My professional career, more than 13 years of nonprofit management, has proven that I have the strong skills to efficiently manage budgets and operations. I have a successful track record of knowing how to bring people together to solve problems and celebrate our wonderful city. Sorry, you get to listen to me chewing. I'm trying really hard to make great content. The city has identified a shortage of affordable housing in recent studies. How would you address this? Finally, some issues. Conservative dude says the council needs to make it as attractive and easy as possible for developers to come into the community and develop additional housing that will address the needs of the most people in the area. Isn't that called a project? How'd that go? Further study will have to be made to see what has been done to address this need. Why it has not worked and alternate approaches tried until something works. You sound really confident. Perhaps. Perhaps? Don't start with perhaps. You should know. Ah. This is why Republicans are losing elections. You should already know what the solution is. Don't say perhaps. Perhaps tax incentives for developers, if appropriate, can be used for this. Well, what makes them appropriate, my dude? I have also noticed that a significant amount of money has been included in the 2023 budget to attempt to address some of this. It is also my view that additional efforts have been made in trying to allow working parents to hold on to more of their current income. What? How? What? They have? By whom? One way would be to see what can be done to develop more reasonably priced daycare options for them. Yeah. That's what working parents really need, is cheaper daycare. The cost of daycare is enormous, and in today's world both parents have to work to make ends meet, and too much of their income goes to paying someone else to watch their children while they strive to make ends meet. Oi. I want to vote for the conservative guy, 'cause I'm conservative. I'm very conservative. I'm very right wing. But I hate this answer. Maybe that's a strong word. Maybe I don't hate it. But, I mean, really? You don't... I can't believe he said this. Further study will have to be made to see what has been done to address this need, why it has not worked, and alternate approaches tried until something works. First of all, grammar, do better. Second of all, that means you haven't studied it. What do you mean further study will have... Who has to do the further studying? Have you studied it? You're running for this job. You're running for this position. How have you not studied it already? How do you not already know what the solution is that you want to implement? I mean, it's one thing to say, I'm open to, like, hearing better ideas. If somebody wants to poke holes in my theory, I'm willing to change my mind and, stuff like that. But this is like, there's a shortage of affordable housing. How would you address this? I would make daycare more affordable. Because both parents have to work. That's a world that we all want to live in, where both parents have to work and send their kids to be raised by somebody else. That sounds like the American dream to me. Doesn't that sound like the American dream to you? That, assuming that the parents are even still together and they don't get divorced, they both have to work. So we got to bring down the price of daycare. Oh yeah, and by the way, we're going to play around with the tax code and give real estate developers tax breaks so that they come to our city and build more housing. Even though all of the big ugly apartment buildings that have gone up recently charge sky-high ridiculous rents that nobody can afford. Yeah, let's do more of that and kill our tax base at the same time while doing it. And also making this whole thing just incredibly unfair. Nothing bothers... I shouldn't say nothing. It bothers me immensely that our tax code has become the sword of Damocles over everybody's head, that it's longer than the Bible, It's incomprehensible and it's impossible. It's written by rich people for rich people. Donald Trump said it. Dave Chappelle highlighted that he said it. He knew what he was saying. He co-authored a book with Robert Kiyosaki. Okay? Donald Trump uses the tax code. He says, "I know that the game is rigged because I play the game." He said it on the national debate stage. Right there. It's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. Rich people write the tax code so that rich people can use the tax code to stay rich. One of the ways that rich people stay rich is they're really good at taxes. And when they're not good at taxes, they hire people who are good at taxes, who will tell them, "Hey, this community over here has some yahoo that said he would give us a tax break if you just build the building in that city." And they do what the government wants. That's the bottom line. Go read Rich Dad Poor Dad. In Robert Kiyosaki's book, he says, I don't pay taxes. He makes millions and millions of dollars. He doesn't pay taxes because he does what the government wants, because that's how the tax code works. You do what the government wants, and they don't take as much of your money. This conservative person is advocating that we manipulate the market using the tax code. We're going to decide that this person engaged in a business, this real estate developer, they don't have to pay as much taxes as the rest of us because we really want them to come and build here. Does that sound fair? I thought that this was supposed to be a country where the law is applied evenly, where we're striving for like some equality and like fairness. But apparently people like this guy, people like our former governor in the state of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, who I love Scott. I love Scott Walker. I think I voted for him in a primary for president, even though he dropped out of the race. But I don't like it when he plays with the tax code. I don't like it when anybody does that. It bothers me so much that this whole thing is just a big game. You want to make a fair tax code? Just make it a percentage. Make it a percentage of your income. Flat. And no exemptions. Just outlaw exemptions. You want the rich to pay their fair share? Get rid of the tax code. Just throw it out. No more exemptions. Everybody pays a flat percentage. It probably wouldn't even have to be that high of a percentage if they're all paying in. And, dude, I mean, do you know how much a lot of these rich people and large corporations and whatever spend on just tax preparation and accountants? There would be a lot of people in a cottage industry that has grown around the complexity of the tax code that would be freed to do more productive work instead of just moving pointless, needless numbers around. It's a make-work job, and that's an immoral thing to do to people, to stick them in a make-work job. Not only are we putting people in a make-work job, but we're doing it because we're just manipulating the populace to do what the government wants. Yeah, that sounds like a real free, great country. I'm so thrilled. Gonna eat my popcorn. All right, what did the liberal lady say? How do you address the shortage of affordable housing? I hope to work with my fellow council members to think about efforts to support our growing community by looking at the existing housing quality and how we can reimagine development within this community. That is a pathetic way of saying nothing, my friend, but somehow it actually sounds smarter than the conservative dude. And I'm upset about that because it shouldn't be. She said nothing. I hope to work with my fellow council members to think. That's the verb that she used in that sentence. Do you realize that? All she said that she was going to do, the way that she's going to address the affordable housing shortage, is to think about it. She's going to get together with some other people and think about it. She doesn't know either. They don't have any solutions. That's the bottom line here, I think, really, is they don't have any solutions. These people don't know what they're doing. Neither one of them should be running, probably. and she's the incumbent, no less. So, I mean, she should have an idea already. Shouldn't she already be into this? This makes me sad. In your opinion, what is the biggest issue facing the city, and how would you address this issue? The conservative dude says, attracting new employers to the area should be a top priority. It should, huh? Why? We have a great community that offers a lot, including a capable workforce. However, the number of open jobs we currently have is troubling and surprising. It indicates a shortage of available employees. My dude, did these people ever take an economics class, like, ever? So he says, attracting new employers to the area should be a top priority. We don't have enough workers to fill the jobs we already have. So let's get more of them. Like, more jobs. How does this make any sense at all? In 2 sentences, he managed to... He says, this is puzzling, and I am not sure that the council can successfully address this. If employers offer competitive wages and attractive benefits, you would think that free market dynamics would correct this imbalance. Well, I think that the employers that do offer competitive wages and attractive benefits are correcting the imbalance because people will actually work for them. Maybe the problem is they're not offering competitive wages and attractive benefits. It's right there. I mean, right in what he said. What is the biggest issue facing Sheboygan? Okay, so he picked an issue that he says, this is puzzling, and I'm not sure that we can solve it. It's a thing that I would just try to make worse. I don't know that we can solve it. Oh my God. And then, and on top of it, he rounds out this paragraph by instilling doubt in the effectiveness of the free market. This is the conservative candidate. The other issue is that the pandemic has created many unusual market dynamics that have yet to be sorted out. This will eventually get resolved in some way. Yeah, and the sun will rise. tomorrow, probably. This will eventually get resolved in some way, and we have to be ready to move forward in these new market dynamics. Ooh, he used the word market dynamics. Very smart. Ooh. Do you know what market dynamics are? No, but it sounds smart. Okay, here's the liberal lady's answer. What is the biggest issue facing the city? She said two things because she's a politician. The first one is repairing our roads. Safety is a top priority for our community, continuing our efforts to repair and replace roads to protect our neighbors while they support our local businesses. So for a second I was like, well, what do I know about that? And then I remembered I live here. I thought about the roads. They're not that bad. But then I thought about where I live, and there is one road that's like, ooh. There's one spot in a road near me where they worked on it and they fixed it up. Like it was closed. They tore the whole thing up and repaved it, and it's bad. Like they didn't measure it properly. And when you're just driving down the road, like, oh, I'm just gonna drive straight down the road, residential road. It has this huge dip where you just, and that's the brand new fixed version of the road. I can't believe that they they did that and somebody signed off on it like, "Oh yeah, this is fine." Okay, and she also said, so I guess I don't know who doesn't want roads in decent shape. Local economic development. The purpose is to revitalize this community, promote sustainability, and attract investments. Huh. Local economic development. What is development? That means by buying local, we help create jobs for our neighbors, contribute to improved public infrastructure. Okay, again, I have to say, this sounds like a lot of just nonsense buzzwords. I'm not sure what you're actually saying here. What is local economic development? So, attract investments. Buying local. I don't know where to how to even like unpack that. That's the biggest issue. What is she even talking about? What do you consider to be the city's greatest attribute? Conservative dude says it's a beautiful and underrated community with great companies, resources, and people. We get knocked because our winters can be long and harsh. While this is true, it is also part of the character of the area. He's trying, man. He's really trying. More should be done to enhance our attributes. Okay. We have a huge number of tourists coming into the area for various things. While here, we need to impress them and send a strong message that we want them back. The beautification of the lake should be a focus. Huh. Refurbishing the jetties and cleaning up the hill. Yeah, I could see that. That would be nice. They do look terrible. Ways of utilizing the old armory must be discussed. I would be in favor of the development of an entertainment district of some sort. He just plopped that sentence in the middle of his answer. I would be in favor of the development of an entertainment district of some sort. Dude, dude, no. You can't just leave that open to interpretation. What? What are you talking about? Are you talking about strip clubs? You want like a red light district? You want what? That's what that's what some people are going to say that you're saying if you don't clarify. What the hell does that mean? An entertainment district? What? 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 I work in the entertainment industry. I'm a musician, and even I'm going, what are you talking about? Renewed energy needs to be focused on the business development park to fill that up with productive businesses that will offer high paying jobs and strong employee benefits. Again, okay, again, this is something that conservatives need to understand, and we need to change because Republicans and conservatives seem to have no qualms about engineering the economy through the tax code. Do you want to focus on the business development park? Which I'm not sure that's really a thing, but that's what he called it. Just odd terminology. You want to focus on attracting new businesses, growing new businesses, local businesses that will offer jobs and good benefits and competitive wages, that bring people to the area and create a tax base and grow the city. Make it easy to do business. Follow conservative free market principles. Lower taxes. The thing that really bothers me is that they do it selectively. They say, oh, but your business, we like that one, so you get a tax break. Well, you should lower everybody's taxes, my friend. Did everybody, maybe I'm just too young, did everybody just kind of like experience Reaganomics and then just get convinced that it doesn't work or something? I don't know. All right, the liberal lady said, what do you consider Sheboygan's greatest attribute as a city? And she said, the residents. This is a community of doers. Empowered and supported residents can build and transform a community. Okay, our local government should be fostering these conversations and supporting change. What change? Change to what? What the hell are you talking about? What conversations? Oh my god. Oh my god. Both of these people sound like idiots. I'm sure that they're never going to watch this. If if this is you and I'm talking about you, I'm sorry for calling you idiots. Um, but seriously, you need to do better interviews. You need to get better at interviewing. And I'm being an equal opportunity offender. Neither one of these candidates are doing a good job in this interview. It's really sad. I I don't know who to vote for. They both sound like idiots. Hmm. One guy is running because somebody at his church asked him to. He's a conservative. The lady is running because she's already doing the job. The conservative dude did a lot of sales jobs. The liberal lady did a lot of non-profit stuff, which is somehow worse. Maybe, I mean, maybe she's more altruistically better person. I don't know. In the sense that a lot of people who work for nonprofits tend to get into it because they think nonprofit means good. I don't know. What do I expect the government to do about making housing affordable? Lower property taxes. Can you lower property taxes? Can they... I don't know. At a certain level, this is all just a big game with the Federal Reserve anyway. There's not very much the city council member is going to do about that. On a macro level. How do we get more affordable housing? What makes the housing expensive? Did you try asking yourself that question, Mr. Conservative Dude? I mean, is it greed? Do you think the landlords are just greedy? They're just asking for a lot of rent because they want a lot of money. Says he's trying to allow working parents to hold on to more of their current income. That's not going to make the housing more affordable. That's, well, I guess you could argue it is in a way. But I was going to say it's just going to make people hopefully have more money to spend on the incredibly expensive rent. Doesn't that result in inflation? Well, not if he's bringing costs down in another area in order to. He's still bringing a cost down. He's just focusing on a different cost instead of the cost of housing. He should focus on the cost, the factors that affect the cost of housing in the first place. How much is this city problem and not just like a everywhere problem also? Isn't it pretty expensive everywhere now? I don't know. I don't know the answers to these questions. These are the things that are on my mind as a voter. These people are running for the position and they don't know. They should know. They should know before they're doing an interview, before they are running. They should know the answers to the questions if they want me to vote for them. Or at least an answer to the question. Maybe there's multiple potential answers and they found one that they like. At least they would have a vision. Neither one of them do. What is the biggest issue? A conservative guy said that there aren't enough workers to fill jobs, but we need more jobs. And then used some buzzwords. And the liberal lady said infrastructure and buzzwords. But basically, their answers basically boil down to gerbs and roads. Conservative guy, I guess, is basically saying that the city's greatest attribute is that it's pretty and attractive to tourists. And the liberal lady just said the people are the great thing about the city. Having lived here for several years, I might beg to differ, but it's not that I mean to badmouth everybody who lives here, but you find good and bad people everywhere you go. That's just so frustrating. I mean, let's see. He has a page on the Republican Party website. The dude. Let's see. The lady does not appear to have a website of any kind. She has a LinkedIn page. Okay. Just a list of all the stuff that she did. I don't know. This is a weird election. I'll say that. Compared to how my research normally goes, this is a pretty frustrating election because there's one big race at the top of the ticket that I'm pretty sure the person I'm voting for that I'm not super excited to vote for is going to lose. And there's a whole bunch of judicial races that are super not exciting because they're all trying to be non-partisan. And a bunch of unopposed stuff. There's this one race that really probably has a huge direct impact on my life that has two candidates, and they're both idiots. and neither one of them gave me a really good reason to vote for them or to not vote for them, honestly. I mean, the liberal lady, I didn't notice anything really objectionable about her answers. She was just dumb. But the dude was also dumb. So, like, ugh. Now thankfully, there's a race that has 6 candidates, and you're supposed to vote for 3 of them. And they were in the primaries, and I did my research during the primary, and I know who I'm going to vote for already because it's just kind of, I figured it out. Had it figured out a while ago. I could I could dive back in and research everybody, and it actually would be a pretty good case study in the point that I wanted to make with this video or series of videos, which is Republicans have to do better and get better quality candidates. Um, I I think I've more or less illustrated that point already, though. I think I've effectively illustrated that point. Okay, and then there's 3 referendums. Good lord, this is a long ballot. This is a statewide thing, so I don't have to be so um what's the word that I'm looking for? Kind of like vague. Vague and mysterious. Clandestine. That's not quite right. Not quite, but it's pretty close. I don't have to be so mysterious about it, I guess. So, state of Wisconsin, conditions of release before conviction. Question 1, conditions of release before conviction. Oh, yawning. Shall Section 8(2) of Article 1 of the Constitution be amended to allow a court to impose on an accused person being released before conviction conditions that are designed to protect the community from serious harm? Hmm. Interesting question. I'm gonna look into this. All right. Here we go. You can read along with me this time. So we have the what's on my ballot thing. Fast facts from super liberals. Super liberals. I guess I can read those sources too. WUWM. Is that maybe the UW Milwaukee radio station or something? Super liberals, super liberals, super liberals, super conservatives, super liberals, super conservatives. All right. Fast facts. What does PBS say? Okay. Two referendum questions are related to the same proposed constitutional amendment, and the other is a non-binding referendum that would have no direct impact on state policy, apparently, according to PBS. Constitutional amendment questions address how the state sets bail conditions for people accused of crimes. Question 1 reads, I read it already. Question 2, so this is the second referendum. Cash bail before conviction. Shall Section 8.2 of Article 1 of the Constitution be amended to allow a court to impose cash bail on a person accused of a violent crime based on the totality of the circumstances, including the accused's previous convictions for a violent crime, the probability that the accused will fail to appear, the need to protect the community from serious harm, and prevent witness intimidation and potential affirmative defenses. The Wisconsin legislature has passed a bill specifying which offenses would be considered a violent crime. Oh, I'm curious about that. Senate Bill 75. Sponsoring senators. I don't recognize any of the names. Not encouraging. To be given second consideration by the 2023 legislature for submittal to the voters. Changes these provisions. This bill changes the statutes relating to pre-conviction release to conform to the changes in the proposed constitutional amendment. The bill will take effect when the amendment is ratified by the voters and will be void if the amendment is not ratified by the voters. So the amendment would have to submit to drug test and alcohol testing. They're not allowed to use any drugs or alcohol if they are out on bond. Wow. That is a lot of statutes. Man. Man, this is complicated. They crossed out the word bodily. Does that mean that the judge can refuse to allow you to be out on bond if they think you're going to insult somebody or use the wrong pronouns? All right, this is very complicated. What are the I thought these would be fast facts. Where are the fast facts? If we vote for it, it would change. Yeah, no kidding. Meanwhile, the other statewide question: shall able-bodied childless adults be required to look for work in order to receive taxpayer-funded welfare benefits? Republicans say they added this question to the ballot as a way of gauging public opinion about the issue, while Democrats say it is intended to boost turnout among conservative voters in the state Supreme Court race. Well, they might be right. I don't know. Maybe they're doing both. Maybe I don't blame them. Although that's kind of silly. If it works, I suppose. Why the hell not? All right. Article from NBC. Is that recent? Dane County voters voice confusion over statewide ballot referendum questions. Yada, 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 yada. UW Law School professor Keith Findley said the two questions surrounding cash bail are poorly worded and confusing. I tend to agree. It took me reading the first referendum question like maybe 8 times before I understood how the grammar worked. He said these referendum questions are deceptive and that they make it appear to the public that we are improving public safety and equipping judges to protect the public when in fact those tools are already available and better tools are out there, he said. These questions are framed in such a way as to make them appear to be really quite common sense and to make them appear to be necessary revisions when in fact they may not be either. Voting no to the cash bail questions does not take away cash bail. Election workers at Goodman South Library are not allowed to answer questions about what's on the ballot, but said a lot of voters ask about the cash bail referendum questions. It's a little confusing going in and trying to make sense of what exactly I'm making a decision about, voter Maria Drews said. To avoid confusion, some voters researched the referendum questions ahead of time. Yeah, like the night before. I don't know anybody like that. I think if they're accused of doing something violent, they should get no bail whatsoever, said voter John Gurn said. If it's something non-violent, that should be a different consideration. It should be a case-by-case basis. Well, Mr. Gurn, it sounds like you're in favor of not making it a case-by-case basis because you just made a blanket statement about every case that meets a certain condition should be treated the same way, according to you. Cash bail seems like it's only going to hurt people who can't pay, voter Victoria Horn said. Findlay agrees with voters like Horn, so he's voting no to both bail questions. He believes the questions focus too much on money and not the circumstances around the crime someone is accused of. Wealthy people are not affected by it as much as our poor people. Watch, in 5 seconds they're going to say it's racism, Findlay said. It will have the effect of locking us into a commitment to that cash system, which has a disparate impact on low-income people and minorities. Findlay said Wisconsin courts already assess and use constitutional laws that exist to prevent dangerous individuals from causing further harm, and that referendum amendments would not improve the system. It is a little confusing trying to figure out what exactly are they trying to do. Why is this a good idea? Why is this necessary? Let's read a conservative source. I read 2 liberal sources. Do they have anything to say about this? Questions 1 and 2 are binding referenda, meaning if they pass, the state constitution will be amended to include language as reflected in the questions. If they fail, the state constitution will not be amended. Here are the questions. Simply put, both questions give judges more flexibility when setting bail. Under the current law, judges can only consider conditions that prevent the risk of death or potentially life-threatening injury. For example, a pedophile awaiting trial currently can't be prevented from going to a playground as a condition of bail, because that condition banning the pedophile from playgrounds isn't really necessary to prevent a risk of injury potentially resulting in death. It would just be preventing sexual assault. Currently in Wisconsin, a judge is limited to a single factor, flight risk, when setting cash bail. This question allows a judge to look at additional factors, past criminal convictions, serious harm, etc., when setting cash bail for violent crimes. I think they should be allowed to look at additional factors. Well, yeah. Interesting. So I think, and this is all about what I think, Judges can only consider conditions that prevent the risk or of death or potentially life-threatening injury. So, to allow a court to impose on an accused person being released before conviction conditions that are designed to protect the community from serious harm. That's a pretty just conditions. We won't say what kind of conditions. Just, any old conditions that the judge feels like. I could say, you're being released before your conviction on bail or whatever. But you're not allowed to do whatever it is that pops into my head as a judge that I say you're not allowed to do. This feels a little bit like a 10-year-old tinkering with a military-grade helicopter. I can see so many ways that could go wrong. On the other hand, that's an interesting example that they use. Oh. Oh boy. And how do you define serious harm? They actually struck the word bodily from the language of the bill, seeming to indicate that serious harm could be defined as psychological scarring from using the wrong pronouns, for example. Could one of the conditions that the judge thinks of be, I don't know, compelled speech? You're released on bond, but only under the condition that you speak and think and act exactly as we think you should. Question 2. Setting cash bail for violent crimes. Don't you think the judges probably do that anyway? Don't you think they probably consider these other factors, whether they admit that's part of the bail that they set or not? I feel like question 2 would be fine. Why shouldn't they consider a totality of the circumstances? That's kind of the reason we have judges, isn't it? Because we need human people with brains to look at things that the law can't just automatically 100% cover in every single circumstance perfectly. Boy, this is a thinker. Honestly, I think I did spend some time before I made this video thinking about question 3, by the way. Shall able-bodied childless adults be required to look for work in order to receive taxpayer-funded welfare benefits? And honestly, at first I thought, I don't know. I don't think so. How do you define look for work? That's such a... What the hell does that mean? What they mean is look for employment. Ah, so you want everybody to be wage slaves and just get stuck in this perpetual cycle of poverty. But on the other hand, I thought, if it were me and I was able-bodied and I didn't have children and I was an adult and I was struggling to get by to the extent that I needed welfare, like I didn't have a job, I would probably... I don't know if I even would apply for welfare. Like myself, I would go get a job. I would find something, you know. Nobody would have to tell me to go look. It seems pretty reasonable. So, I think referendum 1, for me, is going to be a no. Number 2, I think that referendum is too open to abuse. I think it might give judges too much power. It's not specific enough. Referendum 2, I think I would say yes. I don't think there's anything wrong with the judge taking the totality of the circumstances into consideration when setting bail. I think they probably do that anyway. I don't know who would really care. I guess some law professor from Marquette cares. But I think it's because he's using it as an excuse to push identity politics. Referendum 3, I'd say yeah. So, that's it. That was everything on the ballot. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. If you did actually listen to my rambling and stick with it this whole time, I don't know what's wrong with you or why you want to watch this, but there's a couple of really kind of deep thoughts mixed in there that I really wanted to share and that come up every time I go through this process of researching who I'm going to vote for. And I think they're important things. Important things to think about. Things that I want to put out there in the world. Things like, do your research. It's not that hard. It only took me a couple hours, and I put it off until the night before, and I could still do some Google searches and get a bit of information. You just have to read. Don't vote if you're not informed. Don't vote for people just because you feel like you're supposed to, because they're the conservative or they're the liberal or they have the right letter next to their name. Because sometimes the political parties are not doing a good job of offering good candidates. And until the Republicans get the message that they have to put up better candidates, they're going to keep losing. That's just what it is. And if you're a political consultant, or you're working on a campaign, or running somebody's campaign, or you're campaigning yourself for office, please, for the love of God, use spell check. Think about the grammar of your written statements before you send them out. Have somebody proofread your website. Make sure you actually have a website. This is basic stuff. Even I know this. I'm not a political consultant. And please, for the love of God, can the Republicans, nominate good candidates or put up good candidates? I would really appreciate it if we could figure out how to do that. And it's really important to vote in local elections. That's the other thing I wanted to put out there into the universe. Your vote means more. It's less likely to be tampered with, and it affects you more directly and has a bigger impact on you personally. So it's important that you pay attention to all the other elections and not just the president. Don't forget to vote if you're informed. If you're not informed, don't vote. And I will see you later.